time. Hawk Talk is back here on 91.7 The Edge, WSUW Whitewater. We're back from Thanksgiving break. I'm joined today by the best in the business, Jalen, Ryan, Adam, Nazir, and Keys, of course. How was everyone's break? Give me some noise.
Pretty good.
So much food.
Went by quick.
Didn't eat enough, Keys?
No, I ain't eating enough.
I think I had too much, bro.
I still got some.
Pretty sure I put on like 6 or 7 pounds alone this week, and it was just in corn casserole and pumpkin pie. So
That's good.
Gotta go to the gym later, man.
that's
that
the
turkey
plan
trot.
here. That is the plan. I did do a turkey trot.
Oh.
I did a 2 mile. You know, originally I planned to do the 10K, but what had happened was there was a medical issue with my uncle who was supposed to run it with me. And in my head, I'm thinking, like, you know, I wouldn't feel right if we were planning on doing this the whole year and now he just can't do it.
Right.
So instead, what I've done in the past is my brother and I, with a friend of ours we used to play baseball with in high school, we'd run the 2 mile and then go play flag football in a little flag football tournament at my church. And we decided to do that again this year. And, you know, I was dicing him up a little bit.
There you go.
Had like 6-7 receptions, dude. Touchdown. Threw a touchdown, too. I was dicing him up. I looked like prime Sam Howell out there.
Wow.
You know, Sam Howell when he hasn't faced the Cowboys this year, I should say. But other than that, glad everyone's Thanksgiving went great. We're going to get started here with our Obscure Sports segment. Today is about the PBA. The 2023 Chris Schenkel PBA Player of the Year Award finalists have been announced. They are as follows: Jason Belmonte, who is he's the recognized best player on planet Earth. 7-time Player of the Year on the PBA Tour since the award started in 2014.
Wow.
7 times he's won it. Jacob Buttroff is up there for his first. Packy Hanrahan as well. Kevin McHugh, Matt Ogle, Anthony Simonson, E.J. Tackett, who won it in 2016, and Kyle Troop in 2021. I asked you guys to look through some stuff with the PBA today. Give me some thoughts on who you think deserves to win the Chris Schenkel PBA Player of the Year. Let's start with Jalen over here. Jalen, what are your thoughts?
Jason Belmonte, in my opinion. I mean, 7 times, and he's literally like getting better as we keep speaking. It's like he keeps getting better. So that's, in my opinion, it's Jason Belmonte, hands down. I wouldn't say it's unanimous, but I'd say Jason Belmonte.
You know, and the funny thing is, I like that you bring that up, that he's only getting better, because bowling is a sport that you're never perfect at. If you were perfect at bowling, it wouldn't be fun. There would be no competitive value to it. And he is only getting better. The game's only getting tougher, too.
Yeah.
He had one title this past year in 2023, the PBA Tournament of Champions. That is a major, and I want to say that was his record-breaking major as well, as 13th major title, which is a PBA record. Other notes here, he was the runner-up at the World Championship this year, who lost to E.J. Tackett, who's also in this running. Won the Super Slam, which is a non-title event. He also had his 3rd televised 300 game in a title event in his career. One of the top earners in the PBA as well again. My vote's got to be Packy Hanrahan. And just watching him in college bowling when I was still in high school, he was a dog for those Wichita teams. For Wichita State, won 2 titles this year, including the Rolf Holman doubles. And I think Packy's game, like, he just jumped. He skyrocketed in earnings this year compared to last year. He was in the Rookie of the Year voting as well last season. I think Packy Hanrahan takes it for me. Let's get some other thoughts here. Let's go, Ryan. Ryan, who are you thinking?
I think Jason Belmonte, because he finished 3rd in points, 3rd in earnings, and 4th in average. And then, or I think Packy, what's it?
Packy Hanrahan?
Packy Hanrahan. I would say, like Packy Hanrahan, they could win it as well, because she won the the doubles championship, and then she was, I think, one of 3 players to win multiple titles in 2023. Despite a slow start to the 2023 campaign, Hanrahan ranked 4th on tour and top 5 finishes, 6th in points and 9th in earnings.
Yes, and like we said, he jumped up, skyrocketed to near 6 figures in earnings this year. Let's go to the fishbowl here. Adam, who are you thinking here?
I mean, the obvious answer I would go with would be with the Jason, but I'm gonna keep it interesting here. I like EJ Tackett.
I do like EJ Tackett as well.
He's only getting better. I feel like as well. He came off his top season so far this year. He led the tour in points. Yeah, I don't know. And he was the first. He was I think it was like the number 1 seed at the 4 majors. So he was the first person to do this. So
That is true, and I think, with 5 titles and then those 4 number 1 finishes in qualifying, you got to think that it's not just about winning when it comes to being a player of the year or MVP. Like we see it in sports, in other sports all the time. Like this year's MVP for the National League was Ronald Acuna. The Braves got knocked out in the divisional round, right? In the American League, it was Shohei Ohtani again. He hasn't even stepped foot in the playoffs yet. So sometimes it's not about winning, it's just about performance, and EJ definitely has the upper hand in performance.
yeah, he seems consistent too. So
Let's go Nizier.
I like this Jacob Butter guy. I don't know how to say the last name.
Stole mines.
But I kind of like him. I'm going to give it to him because he's a lefty. It's just some stuff that
Stole my reason.
I mean,
All right.
it's just like it's just a different type of talent that not many people have. You can bowl with.
Yeah, you guys ever seen Jacob Buttriff throw a ball?
No, I haven't.
Look it up when you get a chance, because it is wacky.
It's wacky, but
But
it works,
he
right?
is
Them the
so
best
good.
ones.
But it works.
He's so good.
But it
It's
works.
so
It's
weird how he throws the ball, but man, oh man, does it work.
He just played in
Jeez.
Tosa too.
You were thinking Buttriff. What are your thoughts here?
Well, pretty much the same reason as a fellow lefty bowler. And what it says, he finished third average. So that's valid.
super valid.
That's real valid.
And he won Scorpion Championship in this year.
Yeah, so
in Tosa. Wauwatosa was
Yes,
he
sir.
getting a little,
Yeah,
he getting a little
Wauwatosa.
chained in his pocket.
Yeah, I wish I would have been able to get up to watch a couple of those World Series of Bowling events. It was in Wauwatosa this year at my favorite bowling center on planet Earth, AMF Bolero in Wauwatosa. I'm personally biased. I'm being very sarcastic when I make that remark. I don't like throwing there. I always bowl bad there, but don't hate the player, hate the game. Am I right? So let's get moving on here. That's a good little segment there, promoting the PBA. Their 2024 slate is getting set to start. They're going to have 8 events on Fox Sports this season, which I want to say is a tour record now in their partnership with Fox that they started back in 2018. This is going to be a fun season, a lot of young talent. There's still some of the older guys hanging around as well, but all this young talent, I mean, looking at guys like Tackett and Belmonte just doesn't stop. He's one of the best. He's probably the greatest of all time already, and he's not even close to retirement yet. But let's get moving along to our next topic. The Warhawks rode off Wheaton College this week. The Warhawks took down the Wheaton College Thunder 49-42 this past Saturday. Gentlemen, you know the drill. Let's talk about what happened. And I want to give some props to Tamir Thomas first, because Tamir Thomas was a monster on the ground and a little bit in the receiving game as well.
The GOAT, man.
Let's get some noise about that. Let's start with Nazir.
Oh, man, listen. We were down 14-28 at halftime. Whitworth, or what team was it?
Wheaton.
Jesus. Wheaton. I keep saying
Whitworth
Wartburg.
lost to Wartburg. We
Yeah.
were the W corner.
Yeah, I keep-
Wartburg, Whitworth, Wheaton, Whitewater. Try saying that 5 times fast.
It's tough.
Yeah,
But,
tongue
yeah,
twister.
Wheaton, they were a little cocky at halftime. I remember I was told that they were getting a little chippy, talking a little crazy on the field, and then they used that as fuel to go into the next half. And, Whitewater, they came out just, I think we started with the ball at half, and I think we scored right away. And then it was 21-28 for a little bit. But Tamir Thomas, man, they couldn't stop him. Like I saw something new from Rendall the other day. They're making Tamir go up the middle a lot more often. They usually use Elijah Marpar up the middle a lot more, but they're using Tamir to their advantage because his quickness, they couldn't bring him down for some reason the other day. So
Well, and I think part of that is because he's back to being fully healthy.
exactly. Well,
Again.
that's another reason. They rested him for about like a week or two, and I mean they played him for like the first half of every last 2 games.
And you look at the Bethel game, too. I think he had
Yeah.
less than 15 carries.
Exactly.
Didn't do anything in the receiving game. But Elijah Marpar, once again this week, we only saw him on the first drive. I mean,
I think he's a little injured. That's
Do we
why.
think? Well, obviously he's injured, but do we think it's a snap count issue here, or does anyone with more information have something to share with us? Because I'm just confused as to why Elijah Maripar is not getting more action as the true RB2. Because he's been terrific.
He was amazing.
All
He was
season long.
complimenting Tamir like perfectly. You know, he was Tamir, then Elijah Maripar the next drive, and then maybe have them both on the field at the same time. I don't know. I thought it was a perfect. He was a better receiving back this year too. So, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what that was, but overall, it was just a really good game. I mean, it was really like nerve-wracking for a little bit when we were down, but somehow they did the same thing against St. John's earlier this year. So they pulled it together and got it done.
It was a very streaky game, 14-7, then 28-14, and then I want to say it
It was
was
21 unanswered. I'm pretty sure.
42-20. No, 30. So it's 35-28 after being down 14-20. We scored 21 unanswered points right back at them. And then they tied it up at 35 on that Ben Bonga reception from Ben Thorson, who, let's give some props to him as well. Ben Thorson has been one of the best quarterbacks in the nation this year.
His brother was in the NFL, fun fact. He got drafted in 2019 by the Eagles, 5th rounder.
Nice.
Wow.
I don't think he's in the league anymore, obviously, but...
Well, you know, it's not everyone makes it.
Right.
You know, but the fact that you get drafted, it's insane.
Yeah,
Your brother
it's
got
an honor.
And just be able to say, like, oh, yeah, my brother got drafted in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's insane as it is.
That's crazy.
Ben Thorson, 26 of 41 for 402 yards, 5 touchdowns. Talking about the running backs here, Tamir Thomas outgained Giovanni Weeks, who is a Gagliardi Trophy finalist, by
crazy.
101 yards, and outscored him as well. He had 2 touchdowns through the air. Weeks had nothing through the air and had 1 on the ground. I mean, what did it take on deep? Like, what was the method going into this week? Like, what were they working on in practice, do we think? Just stopping Weeks, or what was the deal here? Because Ben Thorson really complemented
It had to be.
that defensive scheme.
It had to be stopping that run, because that pass game was still lethal. Like,
Yeah.
super lethal.
Yeah.
400
Weeks in the
yards
first
total.
half was going nuts.
He was.
He was. He was doing good in the second half a little bit, but they contained him really well. I mean,
That's why I probably think that's why they wanted to change their flow by just let's stop the run, and if they beat us over the top, then they just beat us over the top because.
I mean, our safeties were getting torched though, like badly.
Yeah, so they just rather take the ground game out of it because the ground game chews up clock. So you can knock a couple balls away. That stops the clock as well. So
And Eaton Hine, the other Gagliardi finalist in this game, 8 total tackles, nothing for loss, but he did have a pass breakup. And I want to say the game's only interception, locking up guys on the outside like Caleb Titherington, Seth Kortenhoven, and Ben Bonga as well. Ben Bonga had a great receiving day, 8 for 87 with 2 touchdowns. Let's talk a little bit more about this coming week. Let's go to Wartburg's box score against Whitworth this past weekend. Wartburg was down. It was 7-6 right away through the first quarter, and then Wartburg scored 35 unanswered points.
That's ridiculous.
In the second and third quarter. And this team all year long, it's nothing that we haven't seen yet. It's teams playing in pretty crappy conferences that look extremely stellar. They're in the American Rivers Conference. They're with Coe College, who made the playoffs. That's the only team from their conference that made the playoffs outside of them.
Yeah.
They beat up on Illinois College, who was a high-scoring team with bad defense. They beat up on Whitworth, who's a high-scoring team with halfway decent defense. You look at, let's pull the stats back up here again. You look at what this team has done on defense this year. They've only allowed 123 points. That's 10.25 per game over the past now 12 games. They're 12-0, 8-0 in conference this year. But you got to remember, teams like Bethel and Wheaton also had similar team defensive numbers. They're coming from bad conferences.
Really bad conferences.
The WIAC Conference is the SEC of Division III football. The American
Absolutely.
Rivers Conference is probably like the Sun Belt.
Absolutely.
And you got James Madison, who's the Wartburg would be the Division III equivalent. James Madison, who now, props to James Madison, they're now officially bowl eligible.
There you go.
Same with Jacksonville State. The NCAA finally came to their senses with that.
that came with because there weren't enough teams with 6 wins.
Exactly.
So that goes to show you
Which-
that
They deserve to be.
Yeah.
They deserve to have a bowl game. But let's get back to Wartburg here. On offense, 43.5 points per game. Take a look at their top rusher on the ground, Hunter Klassen. He is a 5th-year running back from Springbrook, Iowa. 21 touchdowns on the ground this year, 1,406 yards on 224 attempts. We're seeing very similar numbers to Giovanni Weeks as we saw this past week. Quarterback right now, it's really just now the Niall McLaughlin show. There's been 4 quarterbacks that have gotten in for this team all year, but Niall McLaughlin, also another fifth-year guy, 33 touchdowns to 8 interceptions with just under 3,000 yards on the season. I mean, what is going to be the tactic that we have to address this week, especially on the defensive end of the ball, going up against Wartburg? This is a very high-powered offense once again. Is there anything that has to change? Because now we're talking about facing a 1 seed.
I mean,
we're not talking about facing 7 seed Bethel anymore, whose head coach is retiring at the end of the year, so they kind of just laid down and died. Yeah. We're not talking about that anymore. We're talking about a Division III powerhouse in recent years who's really come to the rise, and they're hungry for a national championship.
Man, you gotta defend that pass, man. He threw for 352 yards and 4 touchdowns last game. I mean, they also ran the ball. I mean, they got a really diverse running.
They got a two-man running game.
Yeah, and then their wide receivers look at that. Like all their receivers got 30+ receiving yards. That's gonna be really difficult to stop, I guess, because if you have so many players, that means any of those players can take off at any second.
Exactly. It's a very, very two-dimensional offense. They're not just a one-trick pony. Yep. They're able to attack in both ways, and I feel going into this game, you can't really address Hunter Klassen like you did Giovanni Weeks.
Right.
You addressed Weeks for a reason because he's the best running back in the country.
Got to focus on Niall McLaughlin.
And now you have to return to the quarterback. Like we were talking about earlier, the defensive scheme really appeared to be, if they beat us over the top, they beat us over the top. You can't have that happen this week.
Not this week.
With a guy like Niall McLaughlin. Let's get some other thoughts in here. Let's go to Ryan here. Ryan, what are some of your thoughts going into this week against Wartburg? What are some things that the Warhawks should address? Like just from watching the past 2 playoff games here, is there anything they really need to address?
I think the defense was the Whitewater defense was they didn't really look like. I think in the first half they played kind of like the defense was kind of bad because Whitewater was down 28-14 at the half. And then, so I just think the defense, the defense needs to do a little better against a high-scoring offense like Wartburg. And then,
but to piggyback off that, I think we need somebody to catch the ball other than Tommy Coates. We need somebody. He is him.
Yeah,
he is him. But
Stephen
we do
Hine
need somebody else to, come up with the ball at some point.
Stephen Hine couldn't do anything last game.
Stephen Hine had 3 or 4 false starts?
-2 receiving yards.
I know the defense. I know the defense. I know the defense was a little bad on Saturday against Wheaton. But Joe Antonelli did have 11 tackles.
Did have 11 tackles. Let's pull up some defensive numbers here.
I mean, he always has a good game.
He always has himself a great game.
Yeah.
There's only 1 sack all game.
Kolblinger and
Cole Yoakum getting into the backfield on that.
Yeah.
1 sack. It was his only tackle as well. It was just that one play. There's also, you got to remember now, Owen Grover is a senior linebacker for Wartburg. He is also a Gagliardi Trophy finalist. Listen to some of this stat line. 46 solo tackles, 95 total, 4 for loss, 3 sacks on the year, 1 interception, 3 QB hits. This guy gets to the quarterback. He gets there fast. Also on the team, you got a guy like Parker Rockford, who has 7 interceptions and 9 pass breakups, 6 foot, 200 pounds. This guy's quick and speedy. I did some looking at him. He is elite in man coverage. This is going to be a tough game for Alec Ogden, who we saw this past week. Alec Ogden,
no turnovers.
Despite the stat line and no turnovers, yes, I'll call a spade and give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, he played a little off.
Only threw the ball 25. There was something off about Alec Ogden.
He was not making the right. He was just missing throws. I mean, I guess some receivers weren't really catching it either, but there was some easy throws that he usually makes in his
Drake
sleep.
Martin in the end zone
that was
one of them. Yeah. Zach Sherman on a crossing route is another.
Pretty sure Tamir was open on some type of deep slant or something. I don't even know.
Too far.
Let him way too far.
You get the other plays where he's throwing in a double coverage up the right seam, triple coverage too. and he finds a guy and it's in the end zone
And
about
he got-
2 seconds later.
And he got lucky a few times, so I don't know. It's interesting.
I love
think-
Tommy Coates. He is him. But when Stephen Hine is involved in the passing game, this offense is pretty hard to stop, to be honest with you.
This is going to be a make or break game for Alec Ogden, who, mind you, is a senior. This would be his final year unless he does come back for a 5th year. Then it's Jason Cinetti's team. This is make or break for Ogden if he wants any shot going anywhere at any professional level. This is the game for him,
Really?
I would have to say.
You think so?
Well, just thinking about who he's going up against, there's a guy in Parker Rockford who I think should be a Gagliardi finalist. 7 interceptions on the year. Are you kidding me? 7 in 12 games. That dude's a ball magnet.
Yeah.
He is a magnet. Then you also got another guy on the defensive line, Jordan Downing, 10 sacks this year, leads the whole team by over 6.5. The next closest guy, Riley Conrady,
So-
3.5.
So do we think that this game like truly lies on just Alec Ogden having like a career day?
No.
Career day.
I was saying, like I was saying, like when Tommy Coates and Stephen Hine, and there's another wide receiver like say Tamir Thomas goes
Nick
off.
Wins, Tyler Vasey.
Yeah, when they're all like producing and catching the ball, this offense is pretty hard to
I don't
stop.
know. Where was Nick Wind even in the game?
He was a
Yeah,
few times. He never saw the ball, though.
Okay, well that makes sense because Stephen Hine I don't know where he was that game. He usually turns up a little bit in the playoffs, but
He turned up last week.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
What, no, against Bethel, was it?
yeah,
Yeah, he
so-
turned up against Bethel, I ain't gonna lie.
But it was just Tommy Coates open,
So
and Basie
Wartburg is
wasn't really
seated
open that much.
They're number 1 in our corner of the bracket. Out of the 32 teams, they're the number 1
Which
in our
is
corner.
well deserved.
Oh,
They're
so
undefeated.
Yes.
But
We
You
just
look,
need
you look
to-
at Tommy Coates. Let's talk about him as well again. 8 receptions this year, which is 1 shy of his season high when he had 9 against John Carroll, which really kind of solidified him as the true wide receiver 1 of this team. 169 yards, which blew out his previous season high of 86 that he had against Oshkosh in Oshkosh back on September 30th. I mean, 56-yard reception for a touchdown as well too. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves here. Like Tommy Coates is legit, but going up against a ball magnet like Parker Rockford, it's gonna be tough for him to replicate that kind of stat line
Well-
once again. I think if this game, not only is Alec Ogden going to need to step things up a little bit, especially in the passing game, but I think there needs to be a little bit more play calling specifically for guys like Nick Wind, for guys like Tyler Vasey, even utilizing guys on the bench like Patrick Lippy as well. Like this game is not going to be won off the backs of Stephen Hine and Tommy Coates.
Let me tell you this. Drake Martin had 36 yards last week, 3 catches. Nick Wynn, 38 yards, 2 catches, and a touchdown. Stephen Hines, 66 yards, 3 catches, and 1 touchdown. Tommy Coates leads them with 2 wrecks, 73 yards with 2 touchdowns. We have 42 points in like 3 quarters. Think about that.
Ogden really does like to spread the ball around too, which is going to be tough for that
couldn't, though, this week.
Wartburg defense.
he couldn't do that this week. Though.
He couldn't do that this week.
I don't know exactly. I don't know if it was our players or their defensive scheme.
Yeah, that's the thing I was going to ask too. Is like, could this be a fluke?
They played a lot of like really good zone, like really good
Cover
zone.
3, something like that.
It was like cover 3. I saw cover 2. I saw on a 3rd and long. It was like cover 6. They weren't even playing man until like the end zone.
And this is something that they're going to have to address in practice this week is how to beat down that cover 3, how to get around that and really succeed through that. The run game, if they have another run game, like another great game with Tamir Thomas, and then depends on who you have at RB2, maybe even running the read option a little bit
Yeah.
more. Getting the
They
read
stopped.
option
Why
more
did they
involved.
stop doing that this week? They
Yeah,
didn't do that once
That,
this week.
they did
That's
it a couple
crazy.
times. A couple times.
Did it?
They did it a couple
I didn't
times.
see it that
I'm
much.
pretty
It didn't
sure-
work.
I'm pretty sure all 3 of Ogden's rushes, or however many rushes he had, at least like half to nearly all of them
He had a lot of
were
scrambles.
read options. He did have a couple scrambles, yes. So he had a bunch of. There was like at least 3 or 4 in there that I remember calling, and I think that needs to be utilized a little bit more. Some more trickery.
They were like
needs to get
killing
involved.
everybody this year with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what they.
I don't know why he went
Either
away from
that-
this stuff.
This must mean that Jace Rindall saw something early in the game because he's a defensive-minded head coach.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very defensive-minded, linebacker, All-American.
Oh, yeah.
Won a national championship here, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he won one,
He's
yeah.
part of one of those Lance Leipold teams.
Yeah.
He had to have seen something right off the bat that made him think for his offensive coordinators, do not call the read option.
Must have, yeah.
There
right.
had to have been some kind of counter that Wheaton was
Well,
running.
their linebackers were like super fast,
And
like
I saw
ridiculously
less.
fast.
I saw less of the true like snap to the backfield, read the defensive end read option, and more of the power read
Yeah,
where he's
so it
running
was.
alongside Thomas and looking at the defensive line, like the nose tackle
Yeah.
or the defensive tackle instead of the defensive end or the
they hit-
linebacker rushing off the
Yeah,
outside.
they hit the C gap more than the A gap this game, which is like very rare for them. They don't usually do a lot of outside runs unless it's Tamir Thomas, but they were hitting like Tamir right up the middle every single time,
And it
which
was
is
working.
like it was cool.
He's got
That is
breakaway
odd.
speed.
I know it's just like something that you don't see every week though. You don't usually use your speed back up the middle like all the time. You know, like maybe every once in a while with like a counter, but like it was like a dive. It was a straight dive up the middle.
You would think we had 317 yards of rushing offense. That would open up the play action. I didn't think we seen a lot of that. There was a lot of shotgun.
A lot of shotgun, no play
Yeah.
action really.
That play action, I think, would have worked to perfection against that cover 3 zone, though. Not gonna lie.
Definitely past the 50 for sure.
Because
yeah.
Stephen Hine would have had a couple deep balls because
Yeah.
that play action because you would have brought the safeties down.
Yeah, before they hit that 50-yard line, they should have done a lot of play action because that would have been like very crucial for
He would
them.
have had something over the top.
That's what Stephen Hine loves doing those. Yeah, you're
He
right.
likes that.
Yeah,
he
loves
likes that deep ball.
Yeah.
Lastly, here, before we move on to our third and final topic today, yes, we're already moving into our final topic, and it's 5:26 p.m., but trust me, you're going to love everything about this final topic here. It's a big debate stage, which is something you're going to see a lot of this week. Let's do some final score predictions. I'll go first. And I think this is going to be the more unpopular take here. Not saying that we lose, right? I think we'll win this one, but I think it's going to be ultra low scoring. I think what's going to be hammered home in both sides in practice this week for both sides is countering these high impact players.
Yep.
Like for us, it's going to be countering their quarterback. For them, it's going to be countering the read option and countering Tommy Coates and finding a way to plug up the A gaps this week to force us back outside.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a very low scoring match. Probably, arguably, the lowest scoring match in the playoff bracket thus far in terms of total points.
So like
Oh, defensive
17-14 kind of game.
I'm thinking like 14-10.
What?
Defensive battle.
I think this is going to be a
There's no
defensive
way.
battle.
Not with this team.
It's
Both
time.
teams.
Something's going to happen this week where Jason Rendall is going to have to put on the big coach hat
I do
and
agree.
really, really start to cook on the sidelines when it comes to making stops on defense. There's going to be pressure from both sides. Both teams are going to make fantastic drives. Either it's going to be 14-10 or it's going to be a field goal battle.
I do agree.
I can agree with that field goal battle.
I
But
agree
I
with that.
don't think 24 points total gonna be tough.
I think it'll be they'll both be in the 20s at least.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
I don't think our defense can hold
I just
that
checked.
team.
Like,
I don't even think they could hold us that long.
like
Yeah.
Wartburg went to Bethel like earlier in the year, and then we blew them out on Saturday, and Wartburg only scored 16 points against them.
Actually, it's 14.
They did hold them down. Bethel did hold them down. That was
a
a
different
very
team,
tough
though.
matchup between two offensive powerhouses.
It's a different team though. Earlier in the year, you
Where
change a lot during the
scheme has
season.
got to be defense.
I'm sure Whitewater will look at that game with Bethel and Wartburg anyways. 'Cause they
And
played-
see what
they played
Bethel did, yeah.
Exactly. So it
Let's
makes
go,
sense.
Let's go around this way. Final score predictions.
I'm gonna say 24-20 us.
24-20 us. I
Yeah.
like that. Lower scores. Under the 45.5.
I don't think it's.
I'm
gonna
putting
go
a line
down.
on this game. Again, not gambling advice. I'm putting a line on this game, and it's 45.5. I'm pounding the under on that all day long.
Wow.
Ryan,
I was also going to go Whitewater 24-20.
24-20. Gotcha. Adam,
I'm going to go 28-21 Whitewater.
28-21 Whitewater. Like it. Nazir.
I'm gonna go 31-28.
I don't know. There's nothing wrong with
It's
that.
going to be close. I
Yeah.
think it's going to be
It's gonna
very close.
Yeah, it's gonna come down to the wire, but it's gonna
Whether
be
it's,
high.
Yeah,
whether
it's
it's
gonna
high
be
scoring
definitely
or low
scoring.
scoring, it's going to be close.
Yeah, it's gonna be some
31-28.
scoring.
I think we'll win by 3 though.
Let's go to you.
17-21.
17-21. We winning or losing?
We're winning.
Winning. Gotcha.
I do have
On the
a-
road, and then we win, and we either go to La Crosse or go to Naperville.
See, I was most worried about Wheaton, anyways. I'm not really. I've never been that worried about.
I'll be
Wartburg.
honest,
Wheaton was just
I'm
terrifying.
there with you, too, because
Yeah.
Wheaton's offense was so
That's what I'm
good.
saying.
Ben Thorson didn't throw a pick until
Yeah.
last week.
He threw one pick earlier in the year, but
That was the
That was
first
like
round
first-
of the playoffs.
yeah,
He
right.
didn't throw an interception all regular season.
Yeah, which is crazy. So I'm thinking man.
And then he
like,
still went 10-2.
yeah, I looked at
in
his
the
stats,
playoffs.
man. I was like, dude, I don't know. That's just
And
scary.
then Giovanni Weeks on top of that too. But let's move on here. Warhawks heading to Wartburg this weekend. That game time, I want to say, is noon once
Noon,
again.
yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not going to be on 91.7 The Edge or UWW-TV this week, as it is a
Yeah.
road game. But we'll keep you posted in case we decide to move on. And it's close enough to where we might be able to send a crew out there from this here radio station.
That'd be
We will
cool.
keep you
As
in
long
the
as we ain't
audience
got to pay to watch
posted.
it, because I know on Mount Union's page they were
It-
making you pay $10 to
That-
watch,
yeah,
which is
I know.
wild.
Crazy.
It's
Like, I
ridiculous.
understand.
Sam.
I understand. Let's segue into that really quick before we get into this topic. I understand the NCAA. You know, it's their rules, not ours anymore. When it comes to playoff game attendance, you have to pay to get in.
Yeah.
And granted, it's not a ton because it's Division III football, but they're going to get their money out of it. They have to. They are still a business. Yes, they're nonprofit, but they're still a business. They got to get something out of it. The deal all year is that student ID, you get in for free for the regular season games. Then as soon as it's playoff time, no, you're a ticketed fan now.
Yeah.
Pay up or you're not getting in. So thank God for the media
It was
pass.
also $10 to watch it online.
That I don't like.
I don't like that.
I
That's
hate.
what I was saying. I don't like that at
That's
all.
crazy.
$10
I
to
don't-
watch the game online.
Maybe if you show
you're a
me where the money is going,
Yeah, I agree.
then I might consider it. But at least someone on Streamies, at least put it on Streamies or
Yeah,
something
right.
like that.
Bootleg it.
that was insane to see on X all day on Saturday and Sunday, hearing about this stuff about how Mountain Union, not only do they get upset by Alma College in the playoffs, but they paid people to watch that upset, or they charged people to watch that upset. Just find it funny.
Great.
So, next topic, final topic today. The Hawkertons were definitely talkertoning last night about the Ravens, Chargers, Chicago Bears. We're going to call this segment the NFL Debate Clash. And I have a lot of prompts here. And I'm going to leave it up to you guys to talk these out. And as soon as I feel like it's time to move on, we'll move on. As we do only have about 20-ish minutes to get through this one here. Here's debate topic number one. And these are all scorch the earth, hot takes that can be justified, right? The LA Chargers are a worse team than the Chicago Bears this year.
Stop it. We beat the Bears. What do you mean?
Discuss.
Stop it. I don't want to hear that.
I wouldn't say they worse, but
Not even close.
expectations.
They're on the right track.
I wouldn't say they worse
not
because
even
of
close.
their offense is still insane, but at the same time, they are not.
The Bears don't have Lakina.
They're right. You're right on that.
There's no.
Well, we
there's
got DJ Moore.
absolutely-
He's the number one.
I feel like with the
DJ
talent
Moore,
that they
really.
have, yeah,
sorry.
it should be more. But yeah,
We have equally bad coaches. That's literally it.
That's
That's it.
why I brought it up.
That's it.
Is because
It's terrible.
Brandon
Equally bad.
No
Staley
Mike
is
Williams.
proving right now with the amount of talent on that roster. I'm not saying because on
listen.
paper I think the Chargers win 9 times out of 10.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You remember any given Sunday, that's why it's 9 out of 10.
Let me put this in perspective for you. Brandon Staley used to coach for the Rams. He was a defensive coordinator for the Rams, and when he was coaching, he had two of the best defensive players on his defense. So it made him look absolutely absurd. Those two players were Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, and they had they had a whole bunch of other great pieces on that team as well. I can't name them off the top of my head right now, but
Talking about the Super Bowl defense.
yeah, that amazing defense.
Von
He went to
Miller.
Super Bowl.
Yep.
That was his defense.
Miller.
Yeah, that
Von
was
Miller
his.
was on his
Yeah,
defense.
that was his
Leonard
defense.
Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, all those guys,
Ex-Bear, by the way.
Ebucon, all those
Wagner.
guys. Okay, so I'm saying that obviously made him look absolutely amazing. Then he signed with the Chargers in 2020. We got Justin Herbert, and then after that, it's just downhill. I knew from the start he was not a good head coach. He was a great defensive coordinator, but I think Kellen Moore could be a better head coach than Brandon Staley right
Yeah,
now.
Kellen Moore's been doing way better than Dallas Cowboys.
That's not how is that? No, you put Brandon Staley as defensive coordinator, and you let Kellen Moore take the reins of the team. I think that's a better situation
I
than
like
Brandon
that.
Staley at head coach than him being at a regular defensive
He
coordinator.
should not even coach this season. I'm gonna be honest.
I don't know why he still has a job after that playoff game.
Now let's carry this
Yeah.
into this next prompt. Still involves the Chargers here. A little bit. We can kind of tie the Chargers back into this. The New York Giants are a worse team than the Chicago Bears this season.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I can agree with
100%
that.
agree with
The
that.
Giants are just awful.
I mean, I don't think anyone's worse. I don't think anyone's worse than the
But they
Panthers.
beat-
But
Oh my gosh.
Who did they beat?
Yeah, they got a
Panthers
good
are
coach again.
horrible.
Yeah, I feel bad.
But the Giants are pretty bad. You
You know,
know,
the Giants
Didn't
have
they
won their
beat
last two in a
Buccaneers?
row.
yeah, I don't want to hear
They,
it.
they
But
won their last two in a row. They kept it close with the Jets when the Jets were kind of hot towards the end of October. They kept it close with the Bills.
I want their head
Yeah,
coach.
but didn't we say
Brian
Bajan won
Dable.
like 2 games?
I want him.
See, now here's my question. Was last season a fluke
No,
for the Giants?
no, that was an
Then what is
amazing.
this season?
That
No,
that
'cause, like,
division is the
no, I
hardest
get-
division in
I
football.
know the Giants are having a bad year this year, but I think the Giants, like, the reason why they're having a bad year this year, it's because they've been battling through a lot of injuries.
I don't want to hear that. Even when they were
Danny Dimes.
Daniel
is
Jones
even when they were
out for the
healthy, they
year.
were horrible.
Yeah, they're not good.
So I don't think it's their head coach's fault. I just think
Because
the players just out of it.
DeVito, now he's kind of
DeVito
doing
looks
really
alright.
better than
Yeah.
Danny
Tommy
Dimes.
DeVito looks all right,
Yes.
and that kind of scares me for that
What has
contract.
it been? Two
Yeah.
good
He
games?
might not get his job back. He keep playing good.
How many times? Okay, stop.
Okay,
But,
Daniel Jones will get his.
It's not even. It's not just the numbers we're looking
you're
at
not
with
paying $20
DeVito.
million for that.
When
He
I,
was
when
best-
I,
You
what
have
I
to.
see
He
when
was
I
best
look
for
at
the
Tommy
franchise.
DeVito is that Tommy DeVito already looks mature in the pocket. He's an undrafted rookie.
That's crazy.
Hey, let me tell you this. Tell me this.
Like, he looks very calm and collected in the pocket, and that's what you want right now if you're the Giants. Is you don't want someone who's looking to take over a starting job. You want a game manager right now to fully let Daniel Jones heal and to really see if he's worth that contract again. And I think Tommy DeVito is the perfect QB2 to have for that
Okay,
kind of
okay.
scenario, and he looks good.
Yeah.
I'll just keep it at that. I don't think he's a star. I don't think he's a Pro Bowl quarterback. I mean, who knows? Maybe time says something different in the future, but I don't think he's all that in a bag of chips. I just think he looks like a good quarterback.
And,
is
and
good.
benching starting quarterbacks has been a trend. Same with Mac Jones, Zach Wilson.
I don't know what's going on over there. man.
Ryan Tannehill
Insane.
is on the
Mac
bench.
Jones
Like
was a Pro Bowler,
these
too.
coaches not having it.
Bill Belichick just doesn't want to be there.
Back to the Giants.
I know where he wants to go.
How many games did Tommy DeVito win? 2?
He's won the last two.
Yep.
Okay.
31-19 over Washington, and then this week 10-7 over the
And
Patriots.
his completion
And
percentages
the biggest,
really was
and
high.
one of the biggest tank bowls I've ever seen. It's the Giants and the
That was
Patriots.
horrible.
Losing is winning in that matchup.
Yeah, that's
Didn't Bajan win 2 games?
They're 2-8 right now.
Yep.
Yeah?
So, and then we saw how Bajan was. So I wouldn't say give all the hype to Tony DeVito. Like you said, like you cleaned it up. He is a good QB2,
Well,
but as a starter, no. It's going
does
to
have
be
a-
Daniel Jones. It's going to be Daniel
He
Jones.
does
when
have a
comes back.
better coach than Bajan.
Oh, because, like, yeah, I would put,
And that tells you something about Bajan if he won 2 games with that.
Yeah.
yeah, like,
So, like,
yeah, like I would put, like, Daniel Jones will be the starter when he comes back, and you move Tommy DeVito to be his backup quarterback.
yeah, I can agree with that. He cleaned it up saying that Tommy DeVito was a
feel
good
like it's
QB2. I was about to say, because y'all was saying he's going to take Daniel Jones by stop.
No, I
Stop.
don't think that. That's crazy.
No.
it's possible.
No, it's
Oh,
not.
no.
it's
If you give Daniel Jones some weapons, I think he'll be
It was
fine.
Yeah.
best for the
If you
it's
give
not
Daniel
possible.
Jones an offensive line, I think he'll be
Yeah,
fine.
he wasn't
can
bad
move, too. He's a
last
mobile
year.
quarterback.
He's a mobile
too.
quarterback, but my
He's more of
goodness,
an
that
improviser,
offensive
but-
line is still bad.
They've never been good.
Injuries they
Yeah,
battle.
They haven't been good. They weren't good when Eli Manning was on the team.
The injuries,
So-
the injuries are
Yeah.
bad enough too. But like Evan Neal might be one of the biggest draft busts I've ever seen at left tackle.
That is
that
really
dude
bad.
is not
He's
good.
horrible.
Being killed.
He's not good.
I'm pretty sure he's like third in like causing sacks this year, or something like that. I
Yeah.
don't remember it.
Well, Giants quarterbacks are right up there with Sam Howell, and right up there with Joe Burrow, right up there with insert Raiders quarterback, as some of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league this year. The Giants are not. They're not looking good right now simply because their quarterbacks don't have time.
Yep.
That's part why Daniel Jones got injured,
Yep.
and that's why Tommy DeVito doesn't have better numbers right now. He looks calm in the pocket because he's forcing himself
He
to be.
has to be calm.
He has to
Oh,
be
yeah, that's
calm.
like-
Otherwise you're gonna look
The
like
Giants
Zach
will
Wilson.
get this many pass yards every single game.
If you're not calm and collected, you're gonna look like Zach Wilson.
Yeah,
That's the horrible truth.
Adam, we haven't heard much from you yet. We're going to move to a different debate prompt here.
All right.
I want you to really think hard about this one here.
Ooh. All right.
Jordan Love in the NFC is a top 5 quarterback right now.
No.
In the NFC,
In the
Literally
NFC,
think about the NFC.
Jordan Love's a top 5 in the NFC.
3 other quarterbacks.
I can't say yes, but I will say I'm impressed with the last game. But it was Thanksgiving, and the Lions. Have
Oh
to
my
lose
God,
on
it's still the
Thanksgiving,
Lions
but-
though.
Let me see.
It is. You know.
Name me 4 better. You can name 4.
Yeah.
5 is hard.
Hurts, Dak, Purdy, and Goff.
Boom.
That's it.
That's your 4
That's
better
it.
than Love.
That's it.
That's what I was
So are you
thinking.
talking about healthy?
Doesn't matter. Just
Uh,
who's
just
better right
current-
now.
So you gonna throw out Kirk Cousins?
If he
No, no,
was
no.
healthy, maybe.
Okay.
But
Yeah, that's
healthy.
why I asked healthy.
Okay,
I'm
no,
doing
not healthy
and
then.
not.
No, just current, like right now.
Current.
Oh, he probably
Those
could
4
be a top
better,
five.
yeah.
Just right now.
than Love.
Yeah,
You
right
gotta
now, yeah, he'd
deal
be
with the
top
I think
situation.
if there was any other quarterback in the NFC that you could possibly put over Jordan Love right now is Sam Howell. I think that's it.
Yeah, if you put Sam Howell on the
Yeah,
back,
if he
Because you look at
yeah,
the
if he
other
had
quarterbacks.
protection like the Packers,
Dak and
yeah.
Hurts
no,
will give
yeah.
you that. I mean, Hurts'
that's true.
stats are...
Love
if
having his
Howell-
moments.
hey,
Hurts.
if Howell had Green Bay's O-line, I agree with that.
It's kind of a toss-up with Hurts and Love
Yeah.
right now. I'll just numbers.
I'm just
going
gonna
to
say this: Love is doing this with a rookie wide receiver, like not rookie,
Yeah,
like
it's
just,
every-
you know,
2 years, 2
like
years, second
two,
year.
Yeah.
rookie to
Sophomore.
2 years, like no experienced wide receivers whatsoever, no veterans. They have a whole new brand new young team. He put up 320 yards
That was-
on the Chargers, man. That's ridiculous. And he
Jared-
put up like 290 on the Lions.
Jordan Love
Kyler
is
Murray's healthy. Is he
currently...
better than Jordan Love?
Jordan
Ooh.
Love is
Oh,
currently
Kyler, yes.
12th.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
I ain't gonna lie. I
That's
forgot
not
about
even
Kyler Murray.
hesitation.
Did y'all
Oh, yes.
include
I forgot.
Brock Purdy in that?
I forgot.
Yeah, we have Brock
Purdy's
Purdy.
better.
Kyler Murray, that's a good
Kyler
one.
Murray's a
Kyler-
healthy-
I forgot about him.
I thought they was gonna upset the Rams.
I don't know
They
about
should've.
Kyler Murray.
That's a
Right
tough
now?
one. Right now.
What about
Right
He's
now.
still good.
Jordan
Yes.
Love is
Yes.
better than Kyler Murray.
He went shootout.
Are you for real?
He went touchdown for touchdown.
Jordan
with
Love's not-
He came back, didn't miss a
Man,
step.
him and CJ Stroud were going at it when they played. I don't know.
Kyler's nice.
That's a hot
Kyler's
take.
nice.
Jordan Love better than Kyler Murray.
I'm,
That
ta-
is a
I'm
hot
taking
take.
right now
Right
That is
now,
a
that's
hot
hot.
take.
I'm
That's
taking
What about
hot
Geno?
take.
over
Stop.
Kyler
Stop.
Murray.
Stop.
it.
What about
I
He just
am.
got trounced by Brock Purdy.
Enough. I
Comeback
don't
player of the year, man?
wanna- Yeah, last year.
Yeah, last
I
year.
want to hear that. Stop it. I don't
Behind kick by Matthew
Kyler's a
Stafford.
good one.
No, Kyler.
Oh,
Kyler is better.
Kyler is better though.
Geno
I
Smith lost to
think,
Matthew Stafford.
yes,
Stop.
just in terms of like career right now,
No,
like career
but
numbers.
he's been like
and
the
Cooper
averages
Kupp
fact
and
that he's
like that.
back though.
I think Kyler has a step up on Love, but right now in week 12, heading into week 13,
He was injured the whole year. So
Yeah,
it's
you
kinda
can't
hard.
do that.
No, I'm not even talking about ticker stats. I'm not even talking about just like
Okay.
total yards, total touchdowns. Like you cannot compare those.
Right.
Like I acknowledge that you cannot compare those.
Yeah.
But I think right now going into week 13, I'm taking Jordan Love over Kyler Murray.
Love hasn't been to the playoffs.
I really don't
I
know.
I mean, this is first. Kyler Murray,
Kyler
so more
Murray wants
experience.
to let's do this.
He's on a higher route than what Rodgers and Favre were at their exact time too, which is insane.
Yeah, you
I'm
want to
like,
hear some numbers
Yeah.
about that?
I'm like, what?
I'll pull those numbers back up.
Do that to Kyler.
so
So I can tell you this. So I can do this. If you had, let's say, the Minnesota Vikings with all their weapons, would Jordan Love be successful or Kyler Murray be more successful?
Kyler.
Kyler.
It's not a question.
It's going to be. It's going to be
He's
crazy
faster.
if he had a.
It's not even about being faster. Kyler can throw it out of the
Yeah.
roof and accurately.
For him to
Jordan
be
Love
undersized
has
too,
zero
he is really
Jordan
short.
throw to Reed. Like
Leads the league in completions of over 30 yards right now, and that's not
He
even
threw it through a
including
triple coverage
the
to
yards
Reed.
after catch merchant that is guys like Jaden Reed
Yeah.
and Romeo Dobbs. That's not even including the big yard after catch
Dobbs.
plays.
Our whole wide
Josh
receiver
Dobbs
core
is
is
a good
from-
one, too.
Josh, nah.
Okay, I'm gonna do this. Let me do this.
Get out of here with
It's
that.
also a good one. I know you're a Packer fan.
Let's,
but
let's
it's a
bring
good
up this
one.
really quick. I just want to do this as acknowledgement before we move on to the next topic. I had another Jordan Love one, but I don't think it's going to fly over well. Again, it's not something I really believe. I actually texted my fantasy football chat for a lot of these prompts, and there are a lot of good ones, right? But I want to bring this up. Aaron Rodgers through his first 11 games, his first full season as a starter, by the way. First full season as a starter where he's starting week 1. 2,599 passing yards, 17 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 5-6 record. Brett Favre, through his first 11, 2,483 yards, 12 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 6-5. Jordan Love, 2,599 passing yards, 19 touchdowns. And we're talking about Jordan Love, who supposedly has way worse weapons than both Favre and Rodgers when they had their first years as starters. You gotta remember, Favre had guys like James Lofton.
Yep.
He had guys out there like Desmond Howard.
Desmond Howard,
he had great receivers.
Yeah, great receivers.
Aaron Rodgers, Donald Driver, Greg Jennings.
Jordy Nelson.
Oh,
Rookie
man.
Jordy Nelson, and then eventually peak Jordy
James
Nelson.
Jones.
Eat Jordy Nelson was something
Jermichael
else.
Finley.
Jermichael Finley.
Jermichael Finley was going to be arguably a top 10 tight end of all time if he
Could've.
stayed healthy.
Yeah, man. He was tough.
That's my.
Jordan Love, 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 5-6 record, and Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers are considered guaranteed. Well, Brett Favre is. Aaron Rodgers is considered a guaranteed Hall of Famer.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Jordan Love's on that trajectory. I'll just leave it at that.
Does
He
Kyler?
looks
Okay, I got you.
stellar.
That's valid, to
Already.
be honest.
Does
I mean,
Kyler
we're comparing
Murray?
Love always to the end of Rodgers, where like we should have to look at like how Rodgers like started,
too
but
early.
it is hard to do
Yeah.
that for 15 years.
I can't say that.
I agree. It is
win.
If we
early,
had
but
the beginning of the
gotta win.
season, does
You have to
Kyler
look at
Murray
it.
make the Green Bay Packers to the playoffs?
Yes. Yeah, if he's healthy and he
If
starts
he's
on
healthy,
the
start the
Packers,
season with Jordan Love, does Kyler Murray take them to the playoffs?
everyone in the NFC is fearing the Packers.
Is it-
they have Kyler Murray.
Is it
Come on
Kyler
now.
Murray's first
So
year
let's-
playing?
let's-
Yeah,
Go ahead,
that's
answer
tough.
that.
With the defense that just played the Lions.
Is it Kyler's first year playing, or is it like year
No, he's
4
not.
now?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like it's. Oh, yeah.
Fearing.
If it's Kyler now,
The Eagles are
Right,
fearing.
but if you take Kyler first
Murray.
year, you take Jordan Love over that. Would you not?
I would.
I take
Yeah,
Kyler's first
100%.
year.
Never a doubt.
Oh no,
Jordan,
I don't
Love,
know, man.
Jordan Love is just a much better thrower.
No, he's not.
Yes.
Kyler
The
Murray.
Kyler
yes.
Murray.
Yes.
Oh my
Kyler
God.
Murray made the Cardinals
You're
incredible.
saying up to Hopkins
I
and
try
Jordan
to
Love
take,
decisions
I try
be
and
like,
take pro player comps in the draft with a grain of salt.
He does mimic right.
I try and do that as much as I can. But when your pro player comp out of college is Patrick Mahomes, that says something about you as a quarterback. And it's finally starting to show. Look, Keys, I'm glad you brought that up. Look at some of his tape slowed down. Put that side by side with Rodgers.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's
He
identical.
was trained by Aaron Rodgers. It's gonna look like that.
So,
But Kyler Murray, as
so
of
would you
right
take Prime
now,
Rodgers or Kyler Murray?
well, okay,
Jordan Love is he's going to be right up there next year already.
That's
already.
Jordan Love is going to be up there.
That's pretty high.
Give
The
him 2
picks
years.
might be
working with,
higher.
like,
I'll give you
Walmart
that.
receivers.
The picks might
Yeah.
be higher.
In 1 year?
Jordan Love's doing this with far worse receivers,
Yeah.
arguably about the same talent
Who's
on
over
offensive
there?
line, because those guys are not as good as people are making them out to be.
Cardinals.
I mean,
Yeah, we have David. Yeah.
Jordan
so,
Love,
all right,
first
tell me
4
this.
years as a starter.
D-Hop no more.
If Jordan Love was on the Cardinals when he first started with the Cardinals,
They garbage.
do they
Horrible.
go as
Yeah,
far
they
as
have a
Kyler
quarterback
took
to
him?
train him.
Horrible. They don't have anybody.
They were
to train.
practically
They
in
would
the playoffs when
be
Kyler
they'd be
took him.
the hypothetical. I mean, back then it was still 6 teams made it. I think they'd
Jordan
be
Love
the
would be on
7
the
seed
team.
that year.
Jordan Love wouldn't be on a team right now if he started on the Cardinals.
He would just do what
I can agree with that. I can see that.
he would do what Kyler did.
He'd
Just
pull,
try to
he'd
throw
pull a
to
Josh
Hopkins
Rosen,
and,
you're
you know.
thinking?
Huh?
He'd pull a Josh Rosen.
Yeah,
you're
a
thinking?
lot of hype.
Absolutely.
Whatever happened to Josh Rosen, man? I hope he's having a good day.
Man, I remember I
Wherever
told
he
my
is,
dad.
I was having a good day.
I love Josh.
I
Let's-
remember I
Let's-
told my
Super
dad
Bowl
about
with
Josh
Tom Brady.
Rosen. I thought he was going to be the next Tom Brady.
He could have been, man.
Let's move to this next topic here. I'm going to delete this other Jordan Love one that I had cooking just for the sake of time. The Green Bay Packers, we'll keep it tight here. The Green Bay Packers are a playoff team right now.
No.
No,
Not yet.
not
Why
yet.
not?
Absolutely.
We will be though.
I mean, let me look at this.
We will be though.
No.
Hold on.
We on the outside looking
Y'all
in.
play
We
the
will be.
Chiefs,
Oh man.
the Buccaneers,
Oh man.
The Giants.
That's a tough.
The
schedule.
Bears and
Vikings.
Vikings again.
No.
and
Oh,
if
no.
the Bears have adjusted Fields on the field, is there going to be a different outcome at the end of the season than it was starting?
No.
No, I
Stop
don't care
it.
who throwing quarterback.
No, it's not going to be different outcomes. It's going to be the same exact
You need
outcome.
We can
MJ
win the
right
5
now.
of the 6
Okay,
games.
you
I
have
think.
2 guaranteed wins.
We not beating the Chiefs
Yeah,
next week. I'm
yeah.
just saying that. That's a L.
You have Panthers and Bears, in my opinion.
What?
2 guaranteed.
Listen, this week and
Panthers-
next week, I thought we weren't supposed to win.
No,
last
listen.
week.
You have 2
yes.
guaranteed wins. Panthers and Bears. That's in the next few weeks.
No, all them teams we killing. No.
What?
All them teams we can.
Oh,
we
and
can
Giants.
beat.
I didn't see Giants.
We
there.
can beat.
Yeah, Giants are there.
We can beat Baker.
So you have 3
I don't
guaranteed
trust
wins.
Baker.
Listen. You have 3 guaranteed wins. You play the Chiefs. That's a toss up.
L.
I don't know if
Yeah,
that's an
well,
L.
that's an L.
That's in Lambeau.
That's an L.
It's in
I don't
Lambeau.
care.
But I
Patrick
mean,
Mahomes does not play
I'm not
good in Lambeau.
After the
Pat.
Lions game, yeah.
Patrick Mahomes. I don't even remember the last time. I don't think Patrick Mahomes ever played in Lambeau. Actually, fun fact. So that'll be new. We'll be able
Nah,
to see that.
that's
Still
it.
Patrick Mahomes though.
And Arrowhead
Right,
is
who
cold
knows?
sometimes.
Jordan Love
I know,
is
but
still
it's
mad
Lambeau.
that the Chiefs
I-
It's hard to play in Lambeau. It's hard to play there.
With how they treated Jordan Love's,
And they're undefeated in
it was
December.
his mom and his sister, right? Or was it his
Yeah.
Yeah,
girlfriend?
like they put him in
they
the
might
top
have put
row.
Brittany Mahomes and Taylor Swift in the parking lot. Like,
Yeah,
just
facts.
Hard. It's
Hey,
hard to play.
right back at you. You know?
So Packers against Buccaneers. That's
I'm
always a
not.
good
I don't
game.
trust Baker.
That's always a good game.
No.
That
We
is-
could
Yeah,
go
Mike-
5 for
defense,
6.
their run defense is still great though.
Mike
it's
Evans,
hard to run on them.
Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are still those guys, man.
Yeah,
So,
Mike is-
ooh,
yeah.
I don't know, man. Baker's got to turn up that game, but I think you guys should win that. But the Vikings, I don't think you're winning against the Vikings.
Ryan, you said
No.
they're not a playoff team right now. What are your thoughts? Why?
He's a Bears fan. That's why.
I hated Jordan Love. I'll give him credit. I think he's doing much better than I thought he would be this year.
Okay.
But I don't think Packers are not going to make the playoffs.
Who's going to beat them in that schedule? I mean, I'm assuming you think the Chiefs are going to beat them.
Chiefs.
So I'll give you that. You think the Vikings?
I mean, because
You think the Giants?
like home against the Chiefs,
They have
8 or 7.
It's a
Away-
cakewalk
Three
schedule.
guaranteed
away at the Giants Monday night,
3
at
guaranteed.
home against Tampa Bay, away at Carolina,
I say 10 and 7, man.
away at Minnesota, then home against Chicago.
I honestly think it's going to be 3-3 in the next 6 weeks. Like I don't know. I don't think you're going to beat.
That makes it 8 and 9.
Our ceiling is
10
5
and
and
7,
6
man.
with the
9
last
and 8 at the worst. And,
I really do not think.
and
you're
that
beating
loss
the
would be
Vikings.
to the Buccaneers.
I genuinely
see-
don't think you're beating the Vikings. I don't think so.
It's going
I
to be a
don't think
tough,
I don't
tough
see
game.
that.
I don't think you're beating the
With Kirk, we lose.
I think
With Josh,
I really do
we
think you
win.
have a chance to beat the Chiefs only because their
I
their
would-
offense is a liability right now,
They are.
and your
You
defense
said,
is.
Wait. Did you just say with Josh, y'all just are like a comfortable win?
Huh?
Yes. Josh, we beat Kirk, we lose.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I
I
really
think
think
it's the other way around.
It's not gonna be
it's gonna be
comfortable.
I'm a little more scared of the
It's not gonna be
Vikings.
It's a night game in Minnesota.
That's gonna be a toss up for real.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
Let's move things on here.
They might have
Let's
Jettas back
do a
there
couple
too.
more of
They are.
these. Arthur
He out
Smith,
this week.
the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, not Frank Reich, is the worst head coach in the NFL.
Oh,
No.
No, no.
Really?
have you heard of Brandon Staley?
Have you heard of Matt Eberflus?
Right now.
Jesus.
Arthur Smith is the
If
worst
this
head
is-
coach in the league.
No, he is not.
Wait, like,
On the Falcons.
like he's a Falcon.
Yes.
Wait, like
No.
he's the head coach of
No,
the
they just had a. They beat the
I
Six
would
and
argue the
six,
Panthers.
now
They
in
just
first
got rid of
place
their coach.
Falcons.
No,
Do you realize the Packers
They're
are
5 and 6.
Yeah,
Atlanta's
they're winning the
5 and
NFC
6.
South.
They're 5 and 6.
They took
No,
the first.
because if the season ended today,
They would be in the playoffs.
Atlanta would win their division over New Orleans.
Chargers are at the bottom. The Bears are at the bottom.
Literally.
It's got to be one of those
Panthers,
two.
Panthers
They'll
just
be-
got
they'd be the
fired.
fourth
They
seed,
the
right,
first in their
in the
division. They'll be in the
playoffs.
playoffs, game. The fourth seed.
The
Right?
Falcons
Yeah.
are literally in the playoffs right now.
Falcons are
Yeah,
number
they're-
4 right
I
now.
Yeah, they'll be fourth
I
seed.
don't think it's because of their position that
get
makes
fired
Arthur
making
Smith
playoffs.
not the worst head coach in the league. I think the mismanagement of defensive alignments have cost him a lot of wins.
That does not make him
I
the
think the
worst.
On their offense,
mismanagement
too.
No.
of Bijan Robinson
Yeah.
and Tyler Algier.
they
Kyle
they
Pitts.
didn't
has cost a lot
utilize
of
him
wins.
sometime.
I think the fact
That's
that
fair.
they still tried to put out Desmond Ritter in week 1
I don't know why they. Yeah.
instead of going after another quarterback either
Should
A
have
in
had
free
Josh Dobbs.
agency.
Should have had Josh Dobbs.
That
Could
or
have had him.
Jameis Winston. Why is Jameis Winston not starting for a team?
Yeah,
Why is
because
Carson
Derek
Wentz-
Carr's been.
Why is Carson Wentz not? Why wasn't Carson Wentz even signed first week of the
Why?
season?
No,
Why
okay.
are some of these guys
Carson
not
Wentz on the
starting?
Falcons would have
On
been
teams with
beautiful.
Bad quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I get
Carson
it,
Wentz
like,
would have been beautiful on the
I think
Falcons.
like Bijan Robinson should be playing right now. Oh, like
Bijan needs to
he's
touch the
fine.
ball more.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
not
for
true.
sure.
Kyle
He
Pitts needs to
touches the
touch
ball
the ball. I don't care about Bijan.
Kyle
Yeah,
Pitts.
you're
Kyle
right.
Pitts. That's what I'm
You-
saying.
He's a generational
No,
talent.
it's just
Arthur
like
Smith is the worst head coach.
Kyle Pitts
Like,
is a generational
Kyle, if
talent.
you
Like,
listen
I
to
don't know
this,
why-
Just come to the Packers.
I
whole
honestly,
offense needs to touch the
I
ball.
trust Desmond Ritter. I think he's a good quarterback.
Do you understand what
No
Justin Herbert
way.
would do with Kyle Pitts?
What?
That would be the
Desmond
next.
Ritter's their guy.
No,
I think
no, he's not.
Well, here.
Not even close.
He's been
They don't
poopy
shouldn't even
stink all
rely on
year.
passing. Like
We
give
literally
it
not
to
even
the
talking
running
about
back.
Drake London either. He doesn't get the ball.
Oh
either.
my goodness, I
this.
forgot about him. That's
200
another bad
They
thing.
got a 2-man punch. Wide throw.
and a win against
He literally
Houston.
throws it to everybody else.
And they got rid
And
of
a win
Calvin
against
Ridley.
Houston on October 8th, 329 yards.
It doesn't make sense why they're not winning games.
I look at the
No,
totals on the year.
I think they
He's got one
should.
of the lowest yards per game. His
They
last
should have
five,
beaten.
He's at 105 yards per game.
Oh, they got a cupcake
No,
schedule.
they should have beaten.
Yeah, they
In a
said-
game, they benched Desmond Ritter. They should have beaten Minnesota at home, and then they should have beaten. They should have beaten Arizona.
No, Arizona.
Minnesota's a much better team than
Josh,
Atlanta,
the hottest
though.
man out right
Yeah.
As I'd argue that Tennessee is about on the same level as them, and I'd argue that Arizona game, they probably should have won that. They should have.
Dobbs
They
was
had
going
Taylor
crazy.
Heineke on the roster all year, which they have.
They gonna win out.
He should have been the starter from day one if Arthur Smith was a good head coach. He's not. They're
They're
skating by on the
5
coattails of the
and
worst
6.
division in football.
5 and 6.
Worst division in football. One of the easiest cakewalk schedules his last 5 games. Their last 5. New Orleans, Arizona, Minnesota, Tennessee, and Tampa Bay. And you're 2 and 3
not
in
that-
that
that's
schedule.
not e- that's not a
If they're
cakewalk.
a good team. They're like 4 and 1.
That is like all those teams are like verge of playoffs.
Tennessee is not verge of playoffs.
They were in the playoffs
Tampa
last
Bay and
year.
New Orleans only are simply because the NFC South is buns.
And Baker
Yeah.
Mayfield's that guy.
And Baker Mayfield's that good.
No,
Yes.
he's not.
Yes, he
fumbled
is.
too
Oh,
much.
now you're gonna lose. Now the Packers are gonna lose.
Yeah.
Baker's gonna put up 400 yards.
Gentlemen, we've run out of time
Literally
here.
says, go ahead.
5:56 p.m. 91.7 The Edge, WSUW Whitewater. Guys, it's time for our final thoughts. We can do a group final thought if we want on one more of these
Come on, let's do
topics.
it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's
Give
do
Cody
it.
Bellinger what he wants. That's all I got.
Okay.
Pray for him. Pray for him.
Monday Night Football,
10
please
and
just
7
don't let
Packers.
Hockenson get 30. That's
Go
all I
Blue.
ask. Just don't let Hockenson get 30. He can get
gonna
like,
happen.
he can get
might.
like 20.
He might.
If he gets 20, I win in one league and win in the other league where I'm up against him. He gets 30, I win in that one
You
league,
got the
but I
sweet spot,
lose in the
yeah.
other league.
Yeah.
You know,
Michigan
Scott, between
State
20
fan.
and 30, that's all I need.
Michigan State fan, go blue. They beat Ohio State. All right, that's all.
The final one we're going to talk about here: C.J. Stroud over Bryce Young, or Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud, I should say. Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud will be the next Mitch Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes.
No, Bryce Young's not that bad.
Well, I'm going to say
He's just
they weren't that
undersized.
far apart.
Mitch is bad.
Right.
They weren't
So is
that far
Kyler
apart.
Murray.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm
Yeah.
saying, but Kyler's like muscular. He's huge.
The way they were
if
coming out
he-
of college,
If
it was
Bryce
like a
Young,
toss-up.
yeah, if Bryce Young gets in the weight room a little bit, gets better coaching, he'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
See,
yeah.
the thing is, though, is that, yes, Trubisky and Mahomes were a little bit further apart on the draft board, and the Bears traded up to get him. But
I know y'all.
you
I know
got to
y'all.
remember that there was a lot of other teams in between. Let's pull up the 2017 NFL draft here.
But the thing about that was Patrick Mahomes wasn't supposed to be our guy. It was supposed to be Deshaun Watson.
That would have been great.
That
too.
was
gotta-
the guy
yeah,
that was
So
supposed
that's
to
even
be ours.
double L.
You
Yeah.
got to look at the picks in between. Between
You said L with
Mahomes.
Deshaun Watson in 2017?
Mahomes?
No, I'm saying
No,
y'all got
Watson was
an L
earlier,
for not
Watson was
getting
earlier.
either.
Oh no, he was Watson
Yeah.
was he was in that draft. He was behind Mahomes by 2 picks.
Who? But Deshaun?
Deshaun Watson went 12th. Mahomes went 10th.
Yeah, that was supposed to be our pick, was Deshaun Watson
Yeah.
coming out. Because he had everything that we needed, especially with the national championship and that Clemson team. It was supposed to be Deshaun Watson.
And then
I
they
thought
took
you guys were gonna
Trubisky.
take him.
And
I was terrified.
yeah, why wasn't
Everybody,
it?
it was supposed to be Deshaun
And
Watson.
likewise, though, I'd argue that Carolina's pick should have been Anthony Richardson.
Could have been that too, yeah.
That's a
I
good
think
one.
it should have been Anthony
like that.
Richardson.
He's nice.
We're talking between 2 quarterbacks,
Yeah.
between Stroud and Young, and the third quarterback that it should have been. This is the exact same scenario.
We always forget it. We forget about Richardson because he got injured, but
Yeah. Anthony Richardson's the real deal.
he's like
He's
that.
the real.
I don't know how many
Somebody
quarterbacks
was
would be able
gonna-
to save the
somebody was
Panthers
gonna take a
season, though, to
loss.
be honest.
I really
Somebody
do
was gonna take a
think
loss out
I
of
really do think that division is going to be like scary for
You
the
look
next
at
few
you look
years.
at between
Yeah.
those 2 picks here. You got 1 minute left. Solomon Thomas to the Niners. Yeah, he's a bust, but the Niners needed defense. Leonard Fournette to the Jags. They needed a running back desperately. Corey Davis to the Titans. Great receiver at the time. They needed a receiver. Jamal Adams for the Jets, the best player available. They liked him at safety. Mike Williams to the Chargers, just adding another receiver for Phillip Rivers to throw to. McCaffrey to the Panthers, the same reason that the Jags took Fournette. And John Ross to the Bengals, the fastest receiver in draft combine history.
Should have still
They needed
should be on the
that
team.
guy. Still should be on the team. He actually did.
Didn't he just get cut or
He
something?
did just get cut
Yeah.
because he was on the reserve/retired list
Yep.
with the Chiefs, and now his intention is to play more. So hence why he got cut.
Charges. Sign him.
This is
Need a
going to be it
speedster.
for us today here on Hawk Talk on Monday. We got one more Monday show left, guys, and that is next week.
Wow, really?
Very unfortunate. One more Monday.
Can it be 2
It might
hours?
be 2. It might be 2.
Yeah, I thought we had like 2 weeks left.
Can it be 2 hours?
We
of
got
that
2
show?
weeks.
We do have 2 more. I have stand corrected. We have 2 more Monday shows.
Yeah.
And then that's all she wrote. So,
Make them good.
ladies and
2 hours
gentlemen, thanks for tuning in once again from the entire casting crew here on the Monday show. I'm Sam Strash. This has been Hawk Talk here on 91.7 The Edge. Let's take it back to some alternative music here on The Edge.